Cheers!
Hey.
Happy Wine Wednesday, Carl's Wine Club members, Canadian wine lovers, Mira Boucher.
Carl
Happy,
Boucher.
happy Wine Wednesday. How's it going?
Great. I got a ton of glasses in front of me. Look at this.
Right on.
They smell so good.
Oh, I mean, we're going to have an epic show today. There's so much to talk about, like usual, but sorry.
So today we're going to that. I mean, if you can't tell, the last like 6 hours, Carl has come down with something. So I'm not going to blind taste him. Poor guy. He's going to blind taste me this time. So that's kind of a fun twist to these last few weeks.
Fun twist. So I realized this afternoon that I can't smell it. I can't smell, but I can't taste anything. So it's pretty hard to do blind tasting when you can't taste anything. But not only I'm going to blind taste you, Mira, but I'm going to take you through the process. I'll take you in my head. I don't know if you want to be my head, but anyway, I'll take you in my head and see how I proceed. I do my process prior to start tasting the wine. So it's going to be a fun one.
I like it.
We are just on the outset of featuring the Silva Winery.
Bachelder.
But we're just coming out of a support De Silva, which was it was incredibly rewarding to go through that process. I mean, our friends Richard and Twyla had a massive disaster. The members stepped up. Lots of wine are on their way to our members as we speak across the country. There's a second batch who's going to go out tomorrow as well because we ran out of Chenin Blanc. So the arrival of the leftovers Chenin Blanc, the quantity left, who was in Vancouver, got shipped back here. So we're going to pack the rest tomorrow. But on behalf.
Had them down to their last case of Chenin Blanc they had to scrape.
Oh yeah, and now we're down to the single bottles. Like if I ask Twyla for a case, she's gonna start laughing. It does not exist anymore. We're down to the scrap. Like we're down to the few little bottles here and there.
If you haven't heard what happened at De Silva, they had sinkholes basically take apart their winery property about 3 weeks ago. They had to close for a few weeks to take care of that. It was a city water main that burst and then ran like millions of tons of water under their property throughout the property. Crazy.
5.5 million liters of water who came out of that darn pipe in 2.5 hours.
But look at this after picture. That's after. I mean, they worked their tails off, that whole team. They had tons of people from the community step up to help. And they were able to reopen just less than a week ago, like 5 days ago. So that's awesome. And we're so grateful. Thank you to all the members that supported them by buying wine. I think that's a great story to see how loved they are. The amount of people that stepped up for wine. And
absolutely.
Tricky time, show them that we're still here and we still support them. So yeah, it was great.
It was great. We're going to do a last chance maybe sometime this weekend, but now we're switching from our former BC Winery of the Year to our now Ontario Winery of the Year, Bachelder Wine with Thomas and Mary Bachelder. We talked last week about the epic, absolutely incredible vineyard tour event that we've done now 2 weeks ago out in Niagara with some amazing members. It was, and I reflected on that. I talked about it last week and I reflected more on what I said when I mentioned it might have been not only one of the greatest wine event that I've been part of, but maybe the very best wine event that I've been part of. And I mean, I got a bunch of comments on that, but a bunch of people replying and this and that. And I'm like, I sat down and I kind of do a little retrospection of my career. And you know what? That's probably the very most epic winery vineyard tour experience that I've ever been part of. Like, I've thought of it.
And you've been part of some pretty crazy things in terms of international wine and the wine world.
I'm not gonna give up my email today, but yeah, like, I mean, I've been to France, I've been to Italy, I've been to a lot of places in the U.S. I've been in a lot of wine countries, of grape growing region. I met with a lot of winery owner, winemaker across, like, along the way, from in many wine shows. And what we've done with Thomas Bachelder 2 weeks ago was just so authentic, was just so real, and so emotionally perfect across the board that, yeah, it is like, it beats when I met with Michel Chapoutier, or when I met with Gerard Bertrand, or when I walked the hill of the Barolo cruise, or like that beats all of that, because I don't know, it was really special. Thomas was so generous. Thomas was so authentic, and I think that day just went perfectly. And the wine that we've tasted in the vineyard that they're growing in, it was just like really surreal to me. And yeah, so we're working this week. We're gonna send in the next hour or so the first email on it's a recap of our day of touring, our day of vineyard touring, and epic tasting at the Bat Cave after. So I'm recapping the whole thing in an offer of how many wines are that? But 12 wine for 3-4 packs. So it's a really cool concept. So I can't wait for you guys to check on that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing the blind tasting, because I'm perfectly all right.
So yeah, I just want. Do you want me to talk a little bit about how we made the offer, like about what's going to be available?
Yeah. So basically, we wanted to bring what we experienced home to everyone that couldn't be there in person with us, and maybe those who were in person with us didn't get to pick out the bottles they wanted that day. Although I think we got most people that wanted to get bottles. It was just a process, because we realized Thomas makes a lot of different wines, and they all have a different vintage and a very particular vineyard and particular vineyard block, and it can be confusing because it's like, what,
put it that way,
the 2020 or the 2021? Is it
27 SKUs? Okay, 27 SKUs on the regular year. That's not counting the Clos Jourdain. That's not counting the restaurant series, minerality and all that. So 27 SKUs time, let's say since 2016, we're talking about hundreds of different wines, hundreds of different stacks in that little Bat Cave. So yeah, that was a heck of an experience to try to get all of the member out of there.
It was something else.
It was something. It sure was something. So if you followed us in the last 3 years, I think you've realized, and if you were with us during the tour, you know by now how much I like the Wismer Foxcroft Parcelles. I mean, this wine to me is one of the most iconic parcels of Niagara. So Wismer Foxcroft is the vineyard. Parcelles Nord is a single block. And Thomas makes lots of iconic wine, lots of it. Like, I've rated really highly Wismer Wingfield. I've rated very highly Grimsby Hillside. Frontière Block, have rated very highly by Jus in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So many of these Chardonnays, I'm just talking Chardonnay here, not talking about the Pinots, but Wismer Foxcroft has something very special, very unique in the terroir that's reflected every year that I've tasted. And when we got to the Bat Cave, after that epic day of touring, where we tasted the 2021 vintage of Wismer Foxcroft Parcelle Nord in the North Block, it's exactly where, and Thomas showed us the red flag, exactly where the North Block it starts. And sometimes that red flags is shifting depending on the year. So that's pretty cool that like we walked in there with our glass of Wismer Foxcroft 2021 in our hands, and understanding the why that seashell minerality comes out in each and every single vintage of that. Anyway, after Thomas have decided that he will open a 2018 of that Wismer Foxcroft, one of the vintage that I had not tasted before. So now we have 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, 4 consecutive vintage of the Wismer Foxcroft Parcelle Nord that we have finally negotiated with Thomas that we can have a little bit of each and we can put a mini vertical together. So yeah, that's the first. Wow, are you kidding me? So this, in the next hour or so, you're going to receive a possibly, if you guys want, 4 consecutive vintage of the Parcelle Nord. Just for Carl's Wine Club's rating, it's 96 points, which was our second number 2 wine of the year 3 years ago. So 96 points for the 2019, 95 points for the 2020 and the 2018, and 94 plus for the 2021. So the lowest rated wine in this 4 vintage mini vertical is 94 plus. Just let that sit for a second. If you compare that to a international comp, is like having one of these iconic Meursault, iconic Montrachet, where you got these 95 and 96 points in the vertical. So this really, really freaking cool. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is what we're talking about here. 95, 96, 95, 94 plus.
Yeah, and
plus, 93, 93, 94. Oh my God.
And this is just my score. When you go to the guys, especially on the Pinot side, the guys at Wine Align are usually 1.5 points higher than I am. Jamie Good, the doctor from the UK, is usually 2 points higher than me on the Pinot. So, I mean,
even Decanter, I mean, Gamay, I mean, it's just one of those that's not Carl's absolute favorite, but this Gamay from Bachelder has converted us. And look, 94 Carl, right? 93, 92, 90, but Decanter gave this one 97 points.
Yeah, and let's put it that way also. These are not the last 2 at 90 points, 90 and 92, or 90 and 90 are not single vineyards. These are like, it's the Village and the PTSG, the blend, the little fresh Burgundian field blend, Gamay Pinot Noir blend. And so I wanted to put something together a little bit more affordable at the $120 price point, where people can dip their toe into the Thomas Bachelder universe. If they didn't want to go for a $250 4-pack, they can dip their toes into something a little bit more friendly, I would say. But yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. And the Pinot Noir. So let's go back to the Pinots, because we had a unique, and that's, I think it was the one of the highlight moment of that day. It's when we parked the truck and we parked the bus right in the middle of that triangle of 10 meter by 10 meter by 10 meter. And we all stand in that triangle where on one point it was Hank Vineyard, and on two other side, 10 meter and 10 meters, it was Wismer Park and the Wild West Hand. So sitting there on the 20-mile bench at the epicenter of what they say it's the Grand Cru Niagara for Pinot Noir, tasting these three wines where the vines are separated by 10 meters each way and tasting completely different. Absolutely, completely different. This was really, really, really cool. And like being there with the member and just watching the reaction of the people when, like, even if you're not the most perfectionist, like the most perfect wine taster, the most performing wine critic or whatever, you like, you just a wine lover, and you sometimes you say, oh, I cannot really like figure out these big difference between the wines. Everyone was able to just like, holy shit, these wines are so different, but they're so close. So it was really unique. It was really cool. Really, really cool. And just to be in there with Thomas and like to listen the whole spiel and the whole narrative about the Hang Vineyard versus the other side of the dirt road, which is Wismer Park, and what makes the block of Wild West End so special, and just to taste these wines with the unknown clone of the Wild West End. So you go for a very specific two clones that you know exactly what grows on the part, and at the end of the block, it becomes an unknown clone. Like the clone, they can't figure out which clone it was, but makes a stunner of a wine. So it was really cool. Really, really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, phenomenal. Phenomenal experience. Really awesome. So, speaking of which, I have 3 Pinot Noirs, I believe, here. And
yes, you do.
Guide me through.
The idea was I wanted you to find the Bachelder Pinot among the 3. So that was the idea at the beginning.
Okay.
So I opened two other Pinots, and I'm like, while I'm pouring that, I'm like, you know what? This is pretty crazy, because now I'm pouring in the other 2 glasses Kelly Mason's wine, which was trained by Thomas Bachelder. So now I'm having you to find which one is Thomas and which one is Kelly's wine. So I was like, yes, that is pretty harsh here. Not from the same vineyard, but like from the winemaker. So Thomas taught Kelly. So he was like, so I was like, yeah, okay. Second, I completely forgot which one it was. So I was like, oh.
And then you forgot. I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that for a blind taste.
Yeah. But now that you look at it, and I'm going to take you through, because not knowing which one is which, we smell Wismer Park 2020 vintage this afternoon. And you should recall a little bit the smell of what we smell, okay? But before we smell anything, I want you to look at the 3 Pinots, and there's one of them with a different color.
Okay.
A different tone of color.
Okay.
It's, to my opinion, very obvious.
See,
the middle one,
you know, I'm not you.
Okay,
know.
the middle one has more brown orange on the rim. Okay, 1 and 3.
Oh, yeah, if you look at the rim, that's where you see it.
So the 1 and 3 are fairly deep purple, and the 2 has more brownish color at the top. So that tells me that it's a wine who's a little bit older.
Yes.
Okay, and what we have, it's the 2021
Oh, yeah.
Wismer Park, the 2020 Wismer Park. So I'm saying, yeah, you know what? The middle one is not that one. That's for sure.
Because it's older.
Because it's older. Okay.
It's got that little tiny. Yeah, I didn't see it when I held it up for the light.
Okay. So now you're down to
angle it, and I look at the rim, just like right where the wine meets the glass.
Yeah.
Number 2 here in the middle has just a slightly more brick color.
Yep, you're right.
Orange.
So to me, from there, I eliminate that one. This is definitely not the one that I'm looking for. So
It's
now
like
I have
game,
one.
That Clue. No, Clue. Yeah, Clue.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it can't be this. This one can't be the murderer because he's wearing glasses. Okay.
Exactly, because he was stuck in the bathroom while it happened, so that was not him. So now, if I smell 1 and 2, okay,
Yeah.
1 has a little bit more of a oak smell, a little bit more pronounced. Thomas doesn't use new oak, and Thomas mostly use neutral oak.
Okay.
So number 1 is out.
That's not the Bachelder. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm down to number 3. And number 3 is the wine we're looking for. And I know for 100% for sure, number 3 is the Wismer Park
2020
Wismer Park.
Nice. Now here's the funny thing. So I smelled all 3. I haven't tasted any of them yet. But if you were to ask me just based on the smell, without anything you just told me, which one is the Bachelder, I would have said number 3. And you know why? It's just different than the other 2. It's very different. The first 2 are very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The third one is like, pow, totally different experience.
And it's really close in your memory. And when you smell it, like, whoa, wait a minute. So yeah. So the other 2,
recently, yeah.
The other 2 we have, it's Domaine Caylus. We have La Réserve du Domaine in 2019 vintage. So that's the number 2.
Okay.
And number 1 is the special. Yeah, exactly. Number 1 is the limited edition Mountain View Vineyard. There's only 969 bottle made, and we have bottle number 28 here. And this is from a single vineyard they made. So how many? 969 bottles divided by 12. Let's check that out here.
That's less than it.
Calculator, 969 divided by 12. It's 80 cases. Yeah. So that's the amount. And it's from the 2020 vintage. So that's what we have here. So
sorry, the Bachelor one is 2020 or 21? It's
2020.
Okay, so we have 2 2020s here.
And 1 2019.
One by Thomas Bachelder himself and one by his protege, someone who learned winemaking alongside Thomas, right? Kelly Mason. That is pretty cool.
So yeah, so that's where we are. So that 2020, that's why I reopened it this afternoon to do the tasting notes. But after tasting Wismer Park 2021 in the vintage, in the vineyard, Thomas opened the 2020, which is a completely different vintage. I mean, it's a bolder, a richer type of vintage. And so I just thought that by doing that trilogy And adding that 2020 Wismar Park will complete very well the 4-pack of the Pinot Noir that we're putting in that offer. So yes, the Hang Vineyard 2021, Wismar Park 21, Wild Wild West 21, and we're adding the Wismar Park 2020, which is kind of the big boy. Some of the writer at Wine Line gave that wine 95 and 96 points. So, yeah, really, really cool. And so, yeah, that's what, here's our little blind taste today. So we're on Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. We also have 2 Chardonnays from Domaine Caylus in our glass, also the limited edition Lincoln Lake Shore. That I'm suspecting, that I'm not sure, but it might be Grimsby Hillside that's in the glass. But
so you're not sure which one you poured?
Yeah, no, the QLE, it's Caylus limited edition, and the QRD is the Caylus Reserve du Domaine. No, what I'm saying,
you're not sure which vineyard,
because they don't disclose on the bottle which single vineyard it is for the Chardonnay, that special edition. So yeah, we had fun over the weekend tasting some of the Caylus wine. We're going to finish that off over the next couple of days, because next week we're going to feature some of the Kelly Mason's wine.
It's a nice progression, like especially if you like collecting wine, if you have Bachelders already in your cellar, but you don't have some Caylus, it's interesting to see how they're different and similar at the same time. Yeah, both amazing kinds of wines and winemaking.
And where I really seen the similarity, it's on the tradition, the entry level wine at $33. The quality of that $33 Chardonnay from Domaine Caylus is absolutely astonishing. When you blind taste me this weekend on these 3 Caylus Chardonnay, I rated the entry level as the top single vineyard. So that's all good that little $33.50 tradition is. So it was pretty cool. I can't wait to feature these wines next. But yeah, so this week we're focusing, starting later tonight, we're going to focus until the end of the week on Thomas Bachelder. We're going to recap the whole magic day that we had on August 30th. We're going to try to give you as many videos as possible, because Mira recorded a ton of footage during that day, but it was something really, really, really cool that we've done. So yeah, hopefully members are going to enjoy these little detail nuance between these wines. And like to me, that mini vertical of 4 consecutive vintage of Wismar Foxcroft Chard, I'm like, yeah, I have absolutely. And Daryl said Wild Wild West here. Daryl, I'm with you. Wild Wild West 21 for the win. That was my favorite of the 3 while in the vineyard. Absolutely. There's a little something wild in the Wild West end that is absolutely attractive to that wine. The weight of that wine is a little bit more substantial. There's also a couple extra layers that was really cool. But the ballerina, that like Thomas liked to name that wine, the ballerina, the Hang Vineyard, had some pretty special attribute as well, which was really cool to taste it right on site. Yeah. So back at the Bat Cave, I don't know how many freaking wine that he opened at the Bat Cave, but I know that Wismar Wingfield 2016, the 18 Wismar Foxcroft, there was some Back Vintage Wismer Park. I know that couple of there's a bunch of gamies who started to get open as well, because people were just asking, "Oh, do you have this or do you have that?" And Thomas was just running, grab a bottle, pop the bottle open. It was pretty cool.
Incredible. Like, he's got this this saying that he told us at the beginning, which was, he says, some people are worried because I do a bigger pour than usual because I want you to be able to take, a good mouthfeel of it, right? When you're tasting wine. And he said, then you just pour it out. You pour it out in your spit cup or on the ground, right? And he said, some people are worried about pouring it out. And he said, don't, because the real worry, the real shame is if you come all this way, we're here together in person, and you don't get the proper experience of these wines, right? So, yeah, he kept reiterating that, and so true. It's so amazing. He was so
amazing.
generous.
Oh yeah. Generous of his knowledge, generous of his time, generous of everything.
And his wines, oh my God, so many great wines that we were able to experience.
Sorry, I'm just geeking out on the Pinots here. Pretty amazing. So how about we talk a little bit, let's come back to BC for a few minutes, because harvest is on its way in Ontario. I had Keith Dyers on text message today. He was saying that tomorrow they're starting to press the rosé, and in the county they're going to start harvesting next week. But many different places have already harvested Chardonnays or all wine for sparkling. So it's a go at some different places across the country. Unfortunately, here in BC, we don't have a harvest because we all know what happened. But our winemakers are working hard in Washington State. Many of them are now cutting the picks in Washington State. Many of them are already have received their first load of grapes from Washington. They're pressing at the moment. So there's actions at the crush pads up and down the valley. But we also have a few wineries like Tantalus, like Mount Boucherie, who have not went to went to Washington State. They stuck to Canada and they went to Ontario. They partner up with some of other Niagara vineyards and putting together some 100% Canadian wine. So,
which we love. That's amazing to see. Really great to see. I mean,
I'm not blaming
all of it.
I'm not blaming the other people who have made the different choices. That's not what I'm doing. But this is pretty cool to see that a few of them have stayed in the country and are doing that. But yeah, there's some really, really cool stuff coming out of Washington State. And our winemakers are right now have started to press some of their new projects. So it's going to be really cool next spring to see the first result of these new collaboration, and I'm excited to see what's coming up. Sticking with BC, we are now at less than 10 days away, Mira, from our
exactly 10 days.
Exactly
10 days today. We will be just wrapping up the members' celebration of the Winery of the Year at Riverstone in Oliver.
So after that, like I just mentioned, right, how epic the Bachelder event, which was our Ontario Winery of the Year members event. Now the BC one is coming in 10 days. And I mean, what we have planned with Riverstone in Oliver, it's pretty cool as well. So we're going to have a VIP tasting where we're going to sit with Ted King, the owner, winemaker, in the production facility to do some library tasting. He's going to dig deep into his library, and we're going to taste some very unique stuff that Riverstone have been sitting on for years, in some case a decade or more. So we're going to have some really cool stuff from Riverstone at the VIP tasting. After that, we're going to go from the production facility. We're going to walk through the vineyard to get to the winery, where there's going to be live music, there's going to be food, and we're going to do tasting in a couple of different areas of the winery, and taste through their portfolio. So it's super cool. I can't wait to do that. I cannot wait to walk the vineyard with Ted. I can't wait to taste the library stuff. And there might be also some barrel samples of stuff as well. So I know that Ted is really excited to host Carl's Wine Club members. Yeah, it should be a pretty epic event.
Very exciting. Yes. Very exciting. As the weather is turning here in the Okanagan, we're getting to the fall. It's going to be a nice last hurrah for anyone that can make it to that in Oliver. And, if you're in the Lower Mainland, I know there's a few members coming up from the Lower Mainland. We have people from Calgary, possibly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's worth traveling for. And, the next day is the Festival of the Grape in Oliver. They do that whole thing with grape stomping, and I don't know how many dozens and dozens of wineries are there, but this year's also their 25th anniversary. So it's just a great weekend to be in the South Okanagan. And hopefully we'll see you there if you can make it. But if you can't, we'll let you know all about it in a couple of weeks as well on here, because it's always fun to see what we end up doing with these sorts of things, what sort of bottles end up getting pulled out of the cellar.
Yeah, that's it. That's the anticipation, and I think we did that on purpose. That I don't know what Ted's going to pull out of the cellar, so it's a surprise, and that create that anticipation and that the excitement. And I've heard that the caterer that Riverstone has chosen is a really good caterer. The music is going to be live music. It's going to be really fun. It's the first time that we do something with live music, so it's going to be fun as well. Yeah, to me, that's the library tasting that really gets me going, and we're gonna have a really, really good day.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the week of that, we're going to do a little Riverstone recap pack before we end the month of September with an old members' favorite that we haven't featured in over 2 years now. And we're going to feature Black Market Wine Company. So really cool, because we haven't feature Robin Michel's wine in a while, so it's really, really, really exciting.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be great. There's quite a few newer discoveries that are coming up this fall, right? That we've never featured before, or that we haven't featured in quite a while. So it will be a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Stratus Vineyard is coming. Stratus is coming. From Ontario, also Dobbin Estates from Ontario. We're going to bring Leaning Post back, which is one of the very, very, very best winery in Canada. In terms of BC, we have Black Market schedule, and we have a bunch of new stuff as well. That's
absolutely. Hey, speaking of Leaning Post, we started this live off with you talking about how you've met with Michel Chapoutier and with all these incredible wine personalities in the international wine scene. And then, of course, Thomas Bachelder is just this incredible man, myth, legend here in Canada. But another one is Ilya Senchuk and Nadia Senchuk at Leaning Post. And there's some exciting news about them, isn't there, coming up here?
Absolutely. So Marc Nadeau at l'Académie du Vin, a very important wine entity in Ontario. They've been doing very premium wine education for over 25 years now in Toronto. Mark started that as with business partner Steven Spurrier back in the day, but now Mark is tagging along with Guy Laliberté, owner of the Cirque du Soleil, on the One Drop charity event hosted at the Vintage Conservatory in Toronto on September the 18th, I believe. Mira, correct me if I'm wrong here. Yeah, on the 18th of September, and this is a world class event to support the prevention, prevent wasting water around the world.
So
the One Drop
funds are going to help, first of all, here at home with Indigenous communities that have trouble with access to clean water, because it happens here at home. And then also on the international level, it's called the One Drop Foundation, and they bring clean water to people, which is a super important cause. So it's a fundraiser for them. So I'm going to show you guys these events just because we're so excited that I think for the first time ever, we have Ontario wineries being represented side by side, these super iconic brands right here in Canada.
But it's the first time in Canada, first time that the One Drop is coming in the country, first time ever in Toronto. They usually go to Las Vegas, San Francisco, New York City, and Miami. So now they're coming in Toronto, and just like Mira just mentioned, first time ever, there's going to be Canadian wineries pouring at the walk-around tasting. And the walk-around tasting now, there's a deal that Mark Nadeau, we wanted to extend to Carl's Wine Club members, just for only $100 at l'Académie du Vin on September 18. You can go there and taste some of the most iconic Burgundy wine, Bordeaux wines, including Smith au Lafite, including Tertre Rotebeuf, like many international iconic wine, iconic California wines, like vice versa, iconic Spanish wineries, and all that. So Mark and his team, and have put together an incredible lineup of international wine for a walk-around tasting, and invited Elia Senchuk to pour 3 of his wine. Elia is going to be pouring his brand new release of the Blanc de Blanc 2019. Also is 2019, I believe, 2019, yeah, Senchuk Chardonnay, and a Senchuk Vineyard Pinot Noir as well. Also, the Don Alzaraldo, which was part of the very beginning of the Canadian wine industry in Niagara. Donald, who sits on the VQA board and like very involved in the Canadian wine scene. So Donald Zeraldo is going to be pouring the Zeraldo Reserve Ice wine as well. So, and there's a very special special guest to the for this day, which is his name is Daniel Johnson, right, Daniel?
Daniel Johns, yeah, Daniel
Johns, yes.
Who is the founder of La Polée, which we talked about before. La Polée started as a way of bringing
sharing.
some visitors. Well, sharing during harvest. So at first it was just winemakers sharing their wines amongst each other at harvest. And then they thought, well, if we do the same kind of idea, we invite people, we can bring more visitors to wine country during the fall months. And now it's blown up into something they do in New York, San Francisco, Las Vegas, I believe, La Polée. It's one of those events where, like, I think the tickets start at $10,000 or something for the main event. But what I wanted to show you guys, it's on our screen here. So Daniel Johns is the guy who started that, but he's also the wine director for Bouloud.
Daniel Bouloud. Daniel Bouloud is what is the most famous chef in New York City. Really good friend with the late Anthony Bourdain. So Bouloud has built an empire in New York City. And also
Absolutely.
it's a chef from France, but made his biggest success in New York City.
Yeah, so great news that Canadian wines are now being poured at these kinds of events. So cool. But here's what I want to point out. So if you want to join the La Cuvée One Drop Toronto Toronto dinner, I think that's supposed to say, walk around tasting, auction, dinner, and the lunch. So you want to just do a full day tasting these absolutely phenomenal back vintages and meeting incredible people from the wine world. It's $5,200 plus tax. Now, a big chunk of that is a donation to the One Drop Foundation. So you get a tax receipt for that. But
the tax, I think Mark was saying that half of it is tax receipt. So $2,500 will be
donated. If you want to go just for lunch in the walk around tasting and auction, it's $1,000. But hey, here's the crazy deal. So if you guys are members and you're in Toronto, I mean, feel free. If you feel like you can be generous like this, totally go for it. I know I would. If I could afford a donation like that, I would totally go for this if I were in Toronto. I'm not right now, but it's next Wednesday. But here's the crazy thing. If you're in Toronto, you can go to the walk around tasting experience and the auction part only. They've opened this up and it's only $100 plus tax. So you get to go and taste these incredible wines and still be a part of it. So if you're looking here, they got 69 spots available for that. Looks like they have 6 spots left for the dinner, a few more for the lunch.
By the way, at the dinner, they're going to drink 3 different vintages of Domaine La Romanée Conti.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
At $25,000 a bottle, there's going to be 3 different vintages. They're going to taste, I think, a 1929 Chateau d'Yquem. So there's some ludicrous wine available on that. And so, yeah, it's like, I think there's a Petrus 82 as well. So, like, yeah.
Chateau d'Yquem 75, Domaine de la Romanée Conti, La Tâche 2001, 06, 07. Some incredible things. So, yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So on the 18th of September, cannot make it for $5,200 dinner. You can make it for the maybe you can for the walk around tasting for $100. And the great news is now, for the first time ever, we have some Canadian wine poured in that. And you know what I'm really priding myself to? It's to say that we've developed such a great relationship with Marc Nadeau and l'Académie du Vin that we introduced Elia Sanchuk and Nadia Sanchuk to Mark in the whole thing. So I'm not saying that it's because of us if they're there, because Mark is an incredible. I don't think there's any person on the face of planet Earth who has that kind of connection that Mark. But that they finally connected. He finally connected with Elia Sanchuk. He met him for the first time at the Pan Canadian, #1 at Bellaterra, and that's where everything started when Mark joined us for that event. So that is pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool.
Amazing.
So yeah.
So if you're near Toronto and you're a member, you might get a little email about that tomorrow morning, just so you don't miss out on that if you have time to go stop by there and check out some of those things. And yeah, watch out for the emails also about Thomas Bachelder coming out briefly here with the 12 incredible wines, many, I think all of which we tasted at our experience with Thomas in the vineyards. So you can bring that experience.
The 2019 Foxcroft was not tasted there. We tasted the 21 and the 18 at the Bat Cave. The 2 in betweens are, the 19 was our #2 wine of the year, and I was like, oh, we need to do a vertical, so that's what happened. But the others were all part of. Sometimes I build package based on my taste, I would say.
That's okay, because I like your tastes.
I mean, come on, 4 consecutive vintage of Foxcroft from 18 to 21. It's something pretty cool. So
really cool. So, yeah. And I have to say, these 3 Pinots that we tasted, amazing wines. The 2 Domaine Kalis coming up next week from Kelly Mason, winemaker.
Yeah.
Really cool. More oak influence as you're talking about, but still really flavorful and incredible wines. But yeah, I got to say this, which Bachelder wine did you pour me here? This 2020 Wismar Foxcroft? Which one is it?
No, 2020 Wismar Park.
Wismar Park. 2020 Wismar Park. So this is one you gave 94 points to, correct?
2020 Wismar Park. Sorry, say that again.
You gave this one 94 points.
I sure did. I sure did. I did 94 for both of the 21 and the maybe 93 plus for the 21 and 94 for the 2020. 2020 has extra layer, definitely. Adds a little extra humph into it. Yeah, that's pretty. And like that irony, like there's a little blood, sanguine type of iron taste that comes from the red dirt of the Wismar Park vineyard. So now that I've walked in it, I can say a little bit of more detail about the soil of it.
Pretty special, pretty special. So yeah, we got 4 Bachelder Pinot Noirs, all rated between 93 and 94 plus points. We have 4 a vertical. Let's be clear here. A vertical of 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 Wismar Foxcroft Parcelle Nord, which is totally an example of Thomas, because Wismar Foxcroft is a huge vineyard, but he found a parcel, the north parcel, that was behaving differently. And he decided to bottle that separately to see. And oh my gosh, it is outstanding. So these 4 Chardonnays are between 94 plus points. That's the lowest rated Chardonnay in this 4-pack, all the way up to 96 points. And they're vertical from 2018 to 2021. It's pretty special. And then we also have, for only $121, including tax, I think it's a great value, is the Gamay pack.
Yeah. So the 2020, the 2022 Les Villages, the 2022 Bâtard.
Oh yeah.
No, that's the 2021 Bâtard Gamay Pinot Noir. So it's a little the Burgundian blend, the field blend, where 75% Gamay blended with 25% Pinot Noir, all crushed together. So this is a pretty cool little $30 easy drinking wine, but it turns heads at the Bat Cave. People are like, "Holy crap, this is good!"
And it's not available anywhere, and probably not going to be made again, because Thomas said that, yeah, it's incredible value for us. Doesn't make any sense from his accountant's perspective for him to do.
Single vineyard Pinot Noir going in that at 25%. I mean, that is, he said, yeah, I can't make it anymore. So that's the last shot at it. It was made once, and that's it. That won't be made again. But geez, that it's a fun wine. This is very, very cool. The Bijou 2021 was 97 points by Decanter magazine.
Only 93 by Carl, which again is like a super rare score from you.
Yeah,
and then
93 and the 94 Wismar Foxcroft Gamay, which I think is, yeah, it's the best Gamay on the market in Canada. Like, wow, that I've never thought that Gamay would be that complex. Plain and simple. Rob, my man. Rob, yeah, nice to see you, buddy.
Wine Company. Sick, bit under the weather. Yeah, and then the last piece is, take a look at this beautiful 3 people here. Where are they? So see the picture with Thomas, Carl, and I. That one. We're going to be sending Thomas and Mary a nice T-shirt with that picture. And possibly by the morning, by the time you get this this feature in your inbox, that will also be available for Carl's Wine Club members to purchase if they would like to have one as a keepsake, as a something to wear at your next Carl's Wine Club event or at the next Canadian winery you go to. That is super special, and you can't find anywhere else. Just like most of the 12 wines that we're featuring this week with Bachelder you can't find anywhere else. So
exactly. Exactly. So really exciting recap of our epic day of vineyard touring with Thomas. So yeah, I'm telling you guys, I'm fucking dying here. I feel like I'm gonna crash. I need a hot bath. I need a massage. I need a pill to get me to sleep.
Yep, let's get you feeling better.
And hopefully I can start tasting something tomorrow.
Yeah, you can't be sick for too long. You'll have a backlog of like 50 wines. You'll need my help.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna get fired at some point, so
yeah, no.
But yeah. So just a quick recap here. The silver wines are still available until the end of the week. And now you're going to receive in an hour or so the Bachelder offer. And coming your way, a mini vertical, a Pinot pack, and also a Pinot 4-pack and a Gamay 4-pack. Cannot wait for you to get these wines, guys, especially our Chardonnay lovers. 4 consecutive vintage of Wismer Foxcroft Barcelona. So
cool. All right.
Cool.
Cheers, everyone. Hope you have an amazing evening, and we will see you very soon.
Canadian wine lovers, Cars Wine Club members, see you next time.